All right, let's dive into a really powerful idea today. The idea that the world inside our heads actually creates the world we see outside of it. And to do that, we're going to follow a story that shows just how deeply our thoughts can really shape our reality.
This quote, it just really sets the stage, doesn't it? It suggests that the biggest barriers we ever face aren't really out there in the world. Nope, they're the ones we build ourselves piece by piece with the thoughts we choose to believe.
So to really understand this, we're going to follow the story of a guy named Leo. His journey is the perfect example of how this kind of invisible prison gets built and, more importantly, how it can be completely torn down.
So let's start at the beginning with Leo's reality. He's trapped. He's in this cycle of negativity, just feeling totally stuck and powerless against what life throws at him.
You know, it starts with something so small, something that seems harmless, like this thought right here. Leo wakes up, he sees the rain, and bam, his mind just immediately leaps to this conclusion that everything is ruined. That single thought, it's a seed. It's the very first brick in the wall of his mental prison. And from that one little seed, a whole garden of weeds just starts to take over. You see these beliefs on the screen. My life is hard. I'm worthless. Each one becomes another tangled vine in his mind. He's so focused on trying to control the world outside, but it's these weeds on the inside, this feeling of being powerless, that's really trapping him.
But then, something happens. A turning point. A chance encounter with a wise old gardener gives Leo a completely new way of looking at his situation. It's a new metaphor for life, and it's one that's going to give him his power back.
And here it is, the central idea, the garden of the mind. The gardener explains that our inner world is, well, it's like a plot of land. Every single thought we have is a seed. And look, we can't always control the weather outside, but we absolutely have the power to decide which seeds we plant and which ones we're going to water.
This is it. This is the crucial point. It's so simple, but it's so profound. Whatever you give your attention and your energy to, whether it's negative or positive, that is what's going to flourish and become dominant in your mind.
So, this is where Leo's real work begins. The first lesson isn't about trying to change the world around him. Not at all. It's about mastering the one thing he actually has control over, his own internal response to it.
The gardener gives him 3 really practical steps. First, control where you put your focus. Second, control the words you say, both to yourself and to other people. And third, control your attitude. It's not some vague idea. It's a real framework for taking back control of his inner world.
And here's what that looked like in practice. Instead of just letting his mind default to all the negative stuff, Leo started actively planting new seeds. He started this daily practice of writing down these thoughts, consciously choosing what he wanted to grow in his mental garden.
Now, tending your own garden is one thing, but you also have to protect it from outside pests and weeds, right? So Leo learns that to protect his new mindset, he has to start managing the external influences all around him.
He learned these 3 key strategies. He started to audit his circle, spending way less time with people who just drained his energy. He learned to set firm boundaries with negativity. And, this is so important, he started to reframe challenges. He stopped seeing them as failures and started seeing them as just feedback to help him grow.
This quote became his new mantra for when things got tough. Instead of seeing a challenge as something that would break him, he started to see it as a process that would refine him, make him stronger, just like fire purifies gold.
So as Leo starts to integrate all of these lessons, something pretty remarkable happens. His external reality, it doesn't magically change overnight, but his experience of it, it undergoes this profound transformation, and it's all driven from the inside out.
I mean, just look at this slide. It shows the before and after so clearly. Where his old thoughts, his old seeds, made him feel totally powerless and just wilted, his new cultivated thoughts allow him to feel powerful and to thrive, even when the conditions outside are exactly the same.
A huge part of weeding his garden was finally letting go of the past. Leo realized that holding on to old grudges was like clinging to dead branches. It wasn't serving him. So he made a conscious choice to just release them, to let those old pains go and make space for new things to grow.
Now, this is what I find so interesting, the subtlety of this final belief shift. He doesn't just jump to some blind, unrealistic optimism. No, he moves from the certainty that things are hopeless to the possibility of hope. He admits he doesn't have all the answers, but he now believes that things can get better. And this became his ultimate realization. He stopped seeing himself as something broken that needed to be fixed. Instead, he saw himself as a work in progress,
always growing, always learning, always becoming. And this really brings us to the core lesson of the whole story. Leo's circumstances didn't change first. His thinking changed first. And by cultivating the garden of his mind, he found that his entire life, his work, his relationships, everything began to respond to that internal shift.
So that leaves us with a final, really powerful question to ask ourselves. As you go about your day today, just take a moment to look at the garden of your own mind. Which thought, which seed are you choosing to water?